Last night was the coldest night of the year so far, with temperatures as low as minus 9.8 degrees in some parts of the country.
Well, and the colder weather is bad news for your joints, as lower temperatures can lead to more aches and pains. But how do you get this under control? We're joined now by osteopath Dr. Nadia, and welcome. Why is it this time of the year? What is it about the winter that makes your joints ache more?
So generally, when there's a drop in temperature, between our joints, we have something called the synovial fluid, which is almost like the egg white consistency. So when the temperature drops, this fluid starts to thicken, and as it thickens, our joints feel a lot creakier and stiffer. But also, it's because we're not moving as much. So in the colder weathers, I find we tend to not want to do as much. We don't feel the energy to do it. We don't have the sunlight hours, which then affects our mood. We lower in a hormone called serotonin. So all of that will affect our mobility.
So mood affects it as well?
Absolutely, because when you're not in the mood to move or work out or go out for a run, let's think about a nice spring or summer day and the sun is shining. The first thing you think about, let me go out for a jog, let's go out for a walk. When it's cold as it is today, you want to stay indoors more.
It's so true, isn't it? So
and so movement is key.
Movement is key. I love to say that rest, too much rest, is like rust and motion is lotion. And by this, what I mean is the more we move, the synovial fluid lubricates the joint. The less we move, it starts to thicken again and it stiffens our joint.
So if it is cold outside and you're like, I just can't face it, you can move your body indoors.
Indoors, absolutely. And I think just pottering around the house sometimes is great. You know, tidying up a drawer. My parents started doing badminton indoors, and I was like, "What are you doing, playing badminton?" But actually,
they've got a big house.
They hit it in the shuttlecock's always stuck in the chandelier, but they
managed to get
it's a teeny chandelier, but they're consistent because they love badminton. Right. So it's about doing something that you're good at and consistent, but also things like a yoga stretch, like on a YouTube channel. Stop it! You're making me laugh.
It really tickled me.
So those sorts of things, stretching, movements, all of that's great.
If you haven't got a badminton court in your house and you don't
have a badminton
court,
court,
want to run the risk of getting the shuttlecock stuck in the chandelier. What about painkillers? Is it wise to take painkillers?
So painkillers are great at numbing the pain, but what they really are doing is just masking the pain. What I always say is if you have joint pain, get it seen to, see your GP, find out what's actually going on, after which you can use things like gels, magnesium oil and sprays. They're great for stiff joints.
And what about supplements and things like that? Is there anything you can take?
I'm a big fan of supplements, and in particular for your joint health, I talk about things like vitamin D. I think the last time I was on, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
And right now, we're really low in vitamin D because of the lower sunlight. So getting your vitamin D levels checked, asking your GP if they can maybe do a blood test to see where you are with your levels. So supplementing with a vitamin D. Magnesium is also really good. Magnesium malate, in particular, for your joints and stiffness, as well as collagen. Collagen, I think, is fantastic. Most people think of collagen in your skincare and your hair and nails, but for your joints it's extremely beneficial, as well as fish oils.
So can you help your joints with diet?
You can. And so one of my favourites, especially at this time of the year, is bone broth, because bone broth is filled with nutrients. So things like that are great. Collagen is, again, found in the bone broth. Oily fish, such as sardines, mackerel, herring. And if you're vegetarian, linseeds, flax seeds, a lot of seeds are really high.
With bone broth, are you boiling down? Obviously, your family aren't, because you've got someone to do that down in the
No,
kitchen.
we don't.
But are you making your own bone broth? Boiling bones?
Yeah, so what I'll do is after a Sunday roast, I'll just pop all the bones into a saucepan, or if you have an Instapot, it's even less time. You can add some vegetables, some seasoning, top it up and just let it simmer.
And that's quite simple as that. Keeping warm's important, though, as well, for your joints.
Absolutely, and I think especially right now, things like hot water bottles, heated pads and blankets, layering up, pulling out those long johns if you have those, and thermals are really good. But I find if you're going out to even just pick up a loaf of bread, covering up your ankles, wearing socks that are a bit longer, wearing gloves, wearing hats and scarves to get those exposed areas covered up.
So principally, the most important thing doing all of that is movement. Yes. And you've got some stuff that you can do inside.
I do. So I think some of the main things is if you're someone who likes to sit a lot, and even if you're watching the telly right now, great stretches are for your neck. So just using your hand, I call this smell the armpit. So you're turning your head towards your armpit and you're going down towards your armpit, and you'll be stretching the opposite side. So holding that for about 20 to 30 seconds, doing that on both sides. Another one I find is great is rotation. So you're rotating your body across, and this is great for your upper back.
But keeping your hips square.
Keeping your hips square. So you want to twist, and you'll feel it's a really lovely stretch on the upper back. And then you can try and get some...
If you get a click when you're doing that, is that good?
It's actually a really...
Because I never know if clicking's bad or good.
It's just a bit of air releasing from the spine. It's when it starts to creak or you feel grinding within your bones. That's when I say get that checked. But little clicks are just air releases from your spine. Almost like burping. It's just a release.
Oh.
And so you've done your arms, and that so there are other rotational movements
I also
as well.
think so. Rotations are great for the upper back. Strengthening your arms are really important. So going to the edge of your sofa even and doing what I call tricep dips. So just dipping down, and you can do about anything between 8 to 12 of those. So I find these are great. Another one I really like is mountain climbers. So I'm just going to go behind. Over here.
So you could do this on the back of a chair, on the sofa, like anywhere?
Yes, exactly. You could do this at work, if you're in an office. You could do this while you're watching the telly. Just get off. I feel it's about taking breaks in between, which really helps. And I think also...
So you're bringing your knees sort of just up to your...
so you're holding on to support yourself.
Yeah.
You're pulling in your core, and then you're taking your knees up.
As
so
high
you
as
can
you
go
like.
at your own rate. Some people like to go quite quick with
If you go quicker, then that begins to become a cardio exercise.
A cardio, exactly. So you can increase your rate as to your health and your activity levels. But I also think one really good one is for the hip joints.
Yeah.
Because we spend so much more time sitting in the winter. So I normally say hold on to an area, but I'm hoping my core is strong enough, and just swinging. And this is called the pendulum exercise. And what this does is basically, again, lubricates the joints, the synovial fluid gets to move around better, and it stops thickening.
So get moving, even though it's cold.
Yes.
OK. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely to see you. When you drive carefully when you get home. Make sure when you go round and see your parents, you don't run over any deer in the driveway.
Stop it.